Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name is Elle. I do mostly bookish videos, but sometimes other stuff too. And today I am here to tell you about my October reading plans, and I can't believe that October is already here. Spooky season has arrived. I went for a dark look in honor of spooky season. I also wore this striped romper, hoping to give like Beetlejuice vibes slash Jack Skellington vibes, you know, in honor of Halloween. Don't know if that's coming across, but just know that's what I was going for. Also, in honor of Halloween, I will be participating in Trick or Treat-a-thon, which is a Halloween-inspired readathon created and hosted by some pretty amazing people. So I will be sure to leave the Twitter link down below. This is year 2 of Trick or Treat-a-thon, and this year's theme is Monster Mash. So all of the prompts are inspired by iconic Halloween monsters and creatures. I will admit, I am not usually a spooky season kind of person. I avoid anything scary. I don't watch scary movies. It's not my vibe. I'm a chicken. I'm a big coward. I get scared very easily. But for this Trick or Treat-a-thon TBR, I really challenged myself to find books that not only fulfilled the prompts, but that also would, you know, invoke that eerie, creepy sense. Like, I really wanted to feel the spirit of Halloween, and I chose books that should take me out of my comfort zone, if not completely, utterly terrify me. Like I mentioned, this year's Trick or Treat-a-thon theme is Monster Mash. Now, each monster has 3 prompts that you could possibly choose from. I will not be going through each individual prompt, but will simply be mentioning the one that correlates with the book that I'm reading. However, like I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to know more details, or if you wanted to check out the hosts, I will leave the Twitter link down below. They are also hosting a giveaway, so I highly recommend you do check them out. Prompt number 1 is kicking off with Dracula. Read a book with gay undertones or LGBT plus rep. For this prompt, I decided to read Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu, and I will be reading this in an audiobook format. I have started the audiobook previously, but I never got around to finishing it. It was one of those monthly free books that Audible offered you, and I was really impressed with the production of it because it was a full cast and they had little sound effects and background noises. The story itself was also pretty interesting to me. We have a female vampire who is stalking a woman who I'm pretty sure is supposed to be like Carmilla's next prey, but there are clearly lustful, if not romantic, feelings emerging between the both of them, and I just thought it was a really interesting dynamic between them. And considering this book was written, I think in the 1800s, but don't quote me on that, I could be wrong, the way that the homosexual relationship between them was not in like negative terms, like they were both just truly like discovering their feelings for one another, or at least that's the vibes that I got. Like I said, I never finished the book. Prompt number 2, Phantom of the Opera. Read a book with a love triangle. And for this prompt, I will be reading Escaping from Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco. This is the 3rd book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series. And if you saw my September reading plans, you might think, weren't you supposed to read that in September? And yes, I was. But I got distracted by the Shadow series by Amanda Foody. Fantastic series if you have not read it. So I never got around to this. So I figured, I think we have like creepy carnival vibes here as well as a love triangle. So why not give it a read in October? You know what? Maybe it's for the best that I left it for October. Prompt number 3, Creature from the Black Lagoon. Read a book set around the sea. And for this, I chose The Deep by Alma Katsu. The Deep is supposed to blend the supernatural with the tragic sinking of the Titanic, which I'm sure is going to make for a really eerie reading experience. I'm already pretty scared of water, and I feel like reading this is going to make me even more terrified, but nonetheless, I'm gonna do that to myself. Hopefully I enjoy it. Hopefully it doesn't terrify me too much, but It probably will. Prompt number 4, Frankenstein, read a book written from a villain's perspective. And for this, I am reading Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, which is actually a reread for me. This is a prequel / origin story for Ursula from The Little Mermaid. I've never particularly liked The Little Mermaid. I know, shocker. But I absolutely loved this book. I think I gave it a 5 stars the first time I read it, so I really hope I enjoy it this second time around. Prompt number 5, Bride of Frankenstein, read a book featuring an unhealthy relationship. And for this, I chose Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia because the family dynamic in this book is just downright toxic, both figuratively and literally. It is toxic. Also, if you haven't read Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia yet, I highly recommend you read it in October. I mean, it is the perfect Halloween, eerie, spooky, just makes your skin crawl type of book, and I highly recommend you read it if you haven't already. Prompt number 6, The Invisible Man, read a book featuring a character with special powers, and for this I will be reading Nosferatu by Joe Hill. I do believe this is a vampire story just based on the title. I don't know a lot past that about the book, but I do know that one of the characters discovers that she can find lost things by riding her bicycle through a particular covered bridge near her home. That and vampires, it's sure to make for a messy ordeal. Joe Hill is actually Stephen King's son, I think I read, so I know Stephen King is highly regarded in the horror genre community, so hopefully his son also writes a good horror book. Prompt number 7, The Mummy, read a book that is 20+ years old, and I will be reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is a book that I actually do know the plot synopsis to. I'm pretty sure I've read a reimagining or retelling. I also know Netflix came out with a recent movie remake. I feel like this has been around for so long that I was bound to be spoiled for it, but nonetheless, I've never actually read the source material, so figured now's as good a time as any. Prompt number 8, The Wolfman, read a book where a character goes through a transformation, and I will be reading The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, and this is another just, I feel like, staple of Halloween. When I think Halloween and spooky, I think Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I've never actually read the book at all or even read a plot synopsis, but just from what I've gathered in popular media and of course just taking the title, I'm assuming a transformation takes place. And finally, prompt number 9, The Raven, read The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm pretty sure I have read excerpts from it. I feel like everyone in school always read like a piece of it, but I don't know if The Raven is a poem or a short story. I know it's a classic and all, but I don't know. I don't read horror stuff, and I definitely stay away from Edgar Allan Poe. Hopefully it will be an experience. I'll probably tackle that first because it's probably going to be the shortest of the books on this list. Those are the 9 books that I will be reading for the Trick or Treat-a-thon. I'm very pumped for the books on this list, which is contradicting to what I say, that I don't like horror and being scared, but something about these books, I'm just excited to tackle something new. I have no idea how I'm gonna sleep at night, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? That's it for this video. Leave me a comment down below if you're planning on participating in Trick or Treat-a-thon. What are some books on your TBR list for October? Are you doing a spooky themed TBR, or are you staying as far away from Halloween? Because that's what I usually do. I just decided to step outside the box for this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. My name is Elle. Spooky season is here, and I'll see you in next time's video.